Welcome everyone to the first public protocol meeting. My name is Josh. I'm DevRel team, and we have Bowen and Jane here as well to kind of kick things off. This is the first time we're doing this, so it'll be an iterative process. We'll figure it out as we go. You want to introduce yourself, Bowen?
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Bowen from Pagoda, and I lead protocol research and development here. It's very happy to host the first ever public protocol meeting.
Hi everyone, I'm Jane. I'm product manager from the experience team at Pagoda. So very excited to be here, and I'm seeing some familiar faces from our validator community. So guys, welcome. Thank you for joining, and looking forward to make this even better going forward.
Okay, so let's get started. I first just want to talk about what we're going to do today. So first we're going to do an intro, and then I'll share some protocol updates, and then we'll have a lot of time for Q&A. I just want to mention this is the first time we're doing this, so I'll still test things out, and I didn't prepare a lot of agenda for today, so there will be a lot of time for free-form discussion. If you have suggestions on how we can improve the format and make it more interactive or more engaging for people who are listening, feel free to let us know. You can either talk to me or talk to Josh about it. So why are we doing this? I think there are a number of reasons. So we've got this feedback that a lot of the protocol development right now is done kind of in the dark from the community perspective. People are not really aware of what we're working on, what our priorities are, and how to contribute to the protocol development process. And we would like to fix this problem. After all, this is supposed to be eventually a community-driven project, and we should not just talk the talk, but also walk the walk. And hopefully this is going to be the first step towards that goal. We may not get there immediately, but nevertheless, we want to take it one step at a time and slowly getting more people engaged in the protocol development process. So regarding this meeting, mainly we're going to do pretty much three things. So one is that we're going to keep everyone posted on what is our current priority and the focus on the protocol development side. And also we would like to have a public forum for discussions of new protocol features. Eventually we hope to use this meeting as a medium to make decisions and drive new features forward. And also, obviously we want to get more community engagement. That's why this is a public meeting. This is not just a team meeting within Pagoda. So one caveat I'll mention here is that since this is a public meeting, we will not be discussing anything that's security related. For example, if some security vulnerability, we will not be discussing them here unless they've already been patched. And if someone mentioned the topic or asked a question that I think may be related to one of those things, I'd probably just say, it's not a good place to discuss them. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so let me just provide a high-level update on what we're doing, what our current focus are, and so on. So this is the slide from Town Hall. I just want reinsert it here in case not everyone watched the Town Hall, February Town Hall. Just to reiterate our current priorities. So mostly around optimizations for stability and performance. So as everyone probably knows that we've had a dramatic growth of usage in the past several months. And it is more and more important that we focus on stability and performance so that we can make sure that as the network scales, people still have a smooth experience of using them and wouldn't be bothered by any of the stability issues, and also any of the performance bottlenecks that may stop them from running their applications smoothly. To that end, I think two important things working on. One is making Aurora run faster. I think Aurora still contribute to the most amount of gases among all the applications or all the smart contracts that's running on mainnet right now. And we're working with the Aurora team on making them run faster. I believe there are people from the Aurora team that's on this call right now. So yeah, we're working with them to make both optimizations on the smart contract side as well as changes to the protocol to improve the performance overall. And so far, we've already had a 2x performance improvement just on the contract side. Yeah, another important thing we're working on is faster storage, optimizing for both storage reads and storage writes, as they are an important component for most transactions on here. So on the other hand, yeah, we would like to increase community involvement, as I mentioned previously. So this meeting is one of the initiatives that we're taking to increase the community engagement in the protocol development process. And at the same time, we're going to try to figure out a process for new protocol feature development that is more community driven and not so that not every decision is made by a single team within Pagoda. That will likely take a non-trivial amount of time to get to an ideal state. So I think what we will do is that we will start gradually decentralizing that. And in the beginning, there may still be some form of centralization that is, I would say, unavoidable at this stage. I want to acknowledge that, but I also want to set the expectation that eventually the goal is that the decisions shouldn't be made in a single team or by a single entity. Okay, so that's kind of the high-level overview. And yeah, so here is, I want to share a more detailed view on what we are kind of working on the protocol side. So this is a screenshot of a Jira board that I'm still developing. So the hope is that this will be a place where we track all the protocol features that are either being developed or in the ideation stage. Right now, it's far from complete, but yeah, we're in the process of iterating on it and adding more things there. And also right now, this board is not public, and yeah, I'll also work on that to make sure that everyone can get access to viewing this board. But yeah, so that aside, I want to talk about what's upcoming in terms of protocol features. So let's start with this waiting for release column. So this essentially means that the implementation is done, and it is just in the process of being rolled out to testnet and mainnet. So yeah, this thing here increased max gas burn to 300 teragas. What that actually means is that we're increasing the maximum amount of gas that can be attached to a single transaction. So previously, this limit is 200 teragas, and we're now increasing it to 300 teragas. There are many reasons for that, but one of the reasons is that we've now observed more and more expensive transactions or applications that want to perform more expensive operations in a single transaction. And previously, the limit of 200 teragas sometimes isn't sufficient. And there is a need for having more capacity in a single transaction. And that's especially important for Aurora, but also for some other large applications that is also important. So we've made this change. It's already live on testnet, and it's going to be live on mainnet once we roll out the release from testnet to mainnet. So that is already basically done and just waiting to be released on mainnet. And yeah, taking a look at the current focus. So some of those names could be more descriptive. So let's just take a look at them. Caching trinodes. Sorry for the typo here. But what it does is that it's essentially an optimization to save some costs related to storage operations. So we'll have this touching trinode cost that charges for every single trinode touched when we execute a transaction or a receipt. And the problem is that even though in the process of executing them, we would actually cache the trinode we read. But in reality, when we charge for the transaction, we still charge them again, even if it has already been cached. So that's essentially a inefficient or rather not ideal way of charging gas. Because the execution, from the point of view of the execution, that's totally fine and nothing wrong. It's just that the way we charge gas does not really correspond to the amount of computation we do. So this would fix that, and we actually expect that this would give a pretty significant boost to a lot of transactions on Near, especially those that involve storage, a lot of storage operations. Maybe you can save up to 30% of the, or maybe even more, for the total cost of a transaction. So this OutBN 1.8 support is essentially cryptography closed functions that would provide support for private transactions on Near. So once this is enabled, I think we can. The use cases for private transactions would mostly be unblocked. And yeah, finally, there's this feature of splitting unused gas across promises. What it does is that today there is a common pattern that let's say you have a function call and then it would generate further function calls through promises. Then today the common practice among developers that you essentially hard code the amount of gas that you want to attach for those promises within the function. The problem with that is that, well, first of all, you need to find those numbers, and it's not easy to. It's not always easy to estimate how much gas you need to attach, and also because the amount of gas a transaction receipt can consume also sometimes depend on the state. So that is actually changing, and having a static number there isn't always the best option. So what this does is that it would allow developers to specify like a weight on each of the promises created within the function call, so that it would automatically distribute unused gas within the function call towards those promises. It doesn't change the kind of current behavior. You can still attach a fixed amount of gas. It's just that in addition to that, you can also specify how you distribute the remaining gas, so that that would be added on top of the static amount that you attach to a function call. So hopefully that would make it easier for developers to write smart contracts and not worry about their smart contracts being broken one day if something changes on the protocol side or the state gets larger in their smart contract. Yeah, so basically that's kind of what we're currently focusing on. Then there are a bunch of things in the backlog that maybe we can discuss if people have questions, and there are obviously more that should be added. But yeah, that's kind of the current state. Yeah, and I think it's all for the presentation part. And ideally, there should be a section where we discuss new protocol features. But since this is the first meeting, I didn't actually. I don't have anything prepared for us to discuss. But yeah, if someone from the audience wants to propose something to discuss, yeah, feel free to do that. But otherwise, yeah, happy to answer questions.
Yeah, there's a couple questions in here, and again, seeing as that this is the first time we're doing this, we'll kind of go through the questions, and maybe if it becomes kind of more of a back and forth, we can bring them on the bring that individual on the panel, and they can discuss it with you. The first question we had: gas fees are increasing because of increased space and time complexity of operations on Aurora. As more dApps are created, with the fees will the fees keep increasing linearly, or will it be exponentially?
Yeah, I suggest that you read our economics white paper. There is a description on how the gas price will change when there is congestion. Yeah, essentially it will change exponentially. The short answer is that it will change exponentially to deter people from sending more transactions.
Gotcha. And then I think a follow-up question to that maybe the same individual. Why distribute gas accordingly? Why distribute gas according to weights instead of having the promises detecting how much gas it needs and then pull it from the pool of unused gas?
Good question. The problem is the promise cannot detect how much gas it needs. Yeah, just because promises would be executed in the subsequent block. So before the execution, they wouldn't actually know how much gas it would need.
Can the splitting allocation be auto-allocated, or will I need to specify a percentage for the split?
That's a good question. I think by default it's an equal split, and if you, and you can also specify how you want to split them.
Okay. Two questions. One, splitting unused gas across promises sounds awesome. Do you have an expected timeline for the release?
Yes, I think this should be going to the 1.26 release, which should be on testnet. Sorry, let me just stop sharing. Okay. I was just going to check the calendar on when the next. I think next testnet release is on. Sorry. Okay, I think I didn't have this enabled. Yeah, so next testnet release is on March 23rd, and the mainnet should be something like April.
So testnet end of March, and then mainnet sometime in April.
Yeah,
April 20th.
Okay.
Yeah, April 20th. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Awesome. What is the difference between max burnt gas and attached gas?
That's a great question. So the max burnt gas is essentially the maximum amount of gas you can burn in a single execution of a single receipt. But the maximum attached gas is the maximum amount you can attach to a single transaction, which may result in multiple receipts. So previously, the maximum amount you can attach is 300, but the maximum you can spend on one single receipt is 200. So there is a discrepancy there, which means that previously that's 300 potentially you can spend up to 300, but that would be across multiple different receipts.
Thank you. What is the timeline for increasing the number of validator seats?
That's a good question. So yeah, I should mention that because right now we're focusing on stability and performance of the current system, the phase 1 of sharding is delayed compared to the previous timeline. I think right now we're expecting maybe Q3 or Q4 of this year.
Awesome. Regarding the wallet team, as my observation, a lot of people complain that wallet is not a good UX, but with issues with 2FA problems, doesn't deposit deposit addresses. Any plan to invest more resources in the wallet team? I think that's a little different.
Sorry. This is the public protocol meeting for wallet. I don't think it's we have the best knowledge to talk about to answer that question.
Yeah, that's correct. But I should reach out to the wallet team and maybe we can do some wallet team public meetings where we can have similar things like this, where we can have like an AMA and Q&A.
Yeah. Reach out to Patrick and
yes. Cool. That seems to be all the questions so far. If anybody else has any questions, we have a bunch of time left, but if nobody else has anything else to ask, we can another one came in. Is it possible to attach a fungible token in contract method calls?
Like
an attached deposit? Yes.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused as to what the question, like maybe means it's like paying. So yeah, actually, I don't actually know what the question was supposed to
yeah, could you elaborate a little bit more on that question? Certainly an attach.
Yeah, so for deposit today, you can only attach near tokens. If that's the question,
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, the answer is no. Yeah, Damien has a question, though he didn't ask in the Q&A. So that's a good question. I would say no, because because of the focus of the team. I mean, if the focus of the team isn't solely on performance and stability, then we would actually push for phase 1 of sharding. Then there wouldn't be a need to do anything in the meantime, right? So that's not. It's not that we view that as not important thing. It's more because we think stability and performance at this stage is more important.
Cool. Any other questions? Any timeline for the BSC bridge?
Yeah, it's a question for the Aurora team. Actually, we do have someone from the Aurora team here. Yeah, I mean, that's not this is not the best medium, not the best meeting to answer that, but like since the question is already asked, we might as well try to find a way to answer them. But yeah, in the future for bridges, it's not the okay, yeah. Yes.
There's Marcelo. He
on hold. Should we invite Marcelo to give like a longer answer?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me know, Marcelo, if you want to come up on a panel and give a longer update on that. Okay. More questions coming in. How was the 300 teragas limit decided on? Was there some benchmarking involved?
How was 300 teragas limit? Yeah. So the short answer is that it's decided somewhat arbitrarily. It's not entirely arbitrary. The reason is that we don't want to change the maximum gas allowed to be attached to a single transaction, and that is 300 teragas. So yeah, because we don't want to make the change very invasive, we just wanted to roll out something quickly. So we just changed the max gas burned to be 300, so that nothing else needs to be changed. And yeah, there's another concern, which is like if we increase the number even further, let's say we also obviously then we also need to increase the maximum max gas attached, then there is a concern that, because this essentially only goes one way, it's pretty much you cannot lower it again, because then it potentially break contracts. The concern is that if there is some like undercharging that potentially attackers can exploit, then if we cannot lower it, then that means that the wiggle room becomes smaller, and potentially basically that means we cannot lower the block gas limit below what's allowed for a single transaction. Otherwise, there would be transactions that cannot just fit in one block. So there are some concerns there. That's why we didn't like very aggressively increase this number. But yeah, there's some idea on like, how to increase that number even further to make the single transaction capacity even larger.
Cool.
Good, yeah. Thanks, Marcelo, for the answer.
Yeah. No, totally. How will the stability be affected if we increase the validator seats?
Yeah, good question. I don't think it depends on what you mean by stability. If you mean the kind of security of the network, then this actually not affected, because in phase one of sharding, block producers would still validate all the shards, and the chunk only producers wouldn't actually sign any blocks. So the security of the network should pretty much be the same. Yeah, if you're talking about stability, otherwise, I mean, yeah, good question, but we will make sure that the stability wouldn't degrade before we roll out the change.
Are there any plans to encourage people to redelegate their tokens to other validators to encourage better decentralization?
Yes, but that is outside of the protocol. I think the liquid staking initiative is definitely one of them. Essentially, the liquid staking pool would rebalance the stakes among validators, and I think it would do something that would essentially stake to validator with lower stake, and so on. So, but yeah, that's outside of the scope of this meeting.
Some protocols have starting to support running a node as a validator in Docker. Are we going to plan on move to Docker at all for the next movement for validator nodes?
I'm a bit confused by the question, to be honest, because I believe today we also support Docker. There is a Docker compose you can use to run near core, and we even publish Docker image on our Docker Hub. So yeah, not sure what the question is about. Maybe yeah, if you can clarify a bit more.
Cool. Looks like we're at the end of our questions again. If anyone has anything else to add or have any questions to add, please drop them in. Give it a moment. Are there any plans to have synchronous calls in order to simplify cross-contract calls? Do you want to touch on that topic at all?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I would say there isn't anything super concrete right now as a proposal. I think there was a forum post that I think it was written by Max that summarizes the situation and also the approaches we're taking. Maybe we should. How about let me just quickly try to find this and send a link here.
Yeah, there was some discussion about having a synchronous shard.
Yeah, should I type? Should I? I guess I'll just post in the chat.
Yeah, just post in the chat. There you go. Perfect. And then everyone should be able to see it. Oh, it's to hosts and panelists. That's not
okay.
Everyone. I got it.
Okay.
I'll repost it. There you go. No problem. Cool. All right. Any other questions, comments? Anybody has? Well, yeah, no, I think this has been a very oh, can you explain the function of Pagoda to a 5-year-old? ELI5 Pagoda.
Well, I'm afraid
that might be
yeah. This is not the best meeting. I would say watch our town hall recording. I think Julie did a good job of explaining what Pagoda is there. And yeah,
if you go to our YouTube page, if you go to our YouTube page and go over the town hall. Yeah, absolutely. And then feel free to ping me on Discord as well. I can drop my Discord link in here or just ask in the community channels for some clarifying questions if whatever answers you don't have or you didn't get any answers out of the presentation that we did give. But yeah, the recording to those have been asking, this is being recorded right now. It's not live streamed to YouTube yet, but it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel after this call. So cool. Any other questions? All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, comments, Are there any good documentation out there explaining how the virtual machine and blockchain interact?
I think there actually is. Let me. Yeah, it depends on on how technical you want that to be. I think there is one that's okay, actually I need to wait, is it not merged? Sorry, just trying to find the pull request that actually does that explanation.
Yeah, I think there's like a diagram. I can try to dig it.
No, there is a very detailed explanation. I'm not right now having trouble finding it. Yeah, I think it's in your course. So, sorry, one moment.
No problem. Yeah, on the DevRel side, documentation is something that we're actively working on to consolidate. It's definitely been something that we are recognizing that we have kind of our documentation everywhere, and we're looking to create little areas that are more discoverable. And yeah, working with the foundation on the wiki end. So yeah, we have our near nodes documentation, or we'll have developer documentation, and then like a wiki that'll be general, more high level for end users. But yeah, looking to ship lots of changes within our documentation and reorganization within the coming weeks. So stay tuned. And if you have any questions or suggestions about that, please reach out to us in Discord. As well, yeah, a shameless plug for the DevRel office hours. If you have any questions about how to develop on Near, even like protocol questions, we might not necessarily have the answer, but we can definitely reach out to the team and help field or answer any of those questions that you may have. Feel free to drop in. We do it every day. Actually, we're doing it twice a day now. Once in the morning. Well, it depends on what time zone you're in. So one that's more caters towards the European, Africa, and Asian time zones, and then one that's more for the Americas. I will type out there's a link from Bowen on your question, but I'll type in office hours link. Feel free to click on that link. You can see what times that we have our office hours twice a day, and there's a little link to, add it to your calendar. And yeah, that's in Discord under the office hours channel in the development section. So anybody on call that would like to ask any further questions or comments, any feedback from today's session, greatly appreciated. But yeah, I haven't seen any other questions come in, so maybe we could wrap it up a little early. This has been a great start. I think really enjoy. You're welcome. I am too. Looking forward to these sessions each month. It's cool to get to pick the core team's brain a little bit and ask questions as they come up, and then maybe we can gather some feedback from you guys. Maybe I'll send an email out to all those people that are registered and see kind of, how you'd like to see this meeting shape up as we move forward. But yeah, any parting words, Bowen?
Yes, thanks everyone for joining. And yeah, we will definitely iterate on the process, iterate on the format of the meeting. I know that this is definitely not perfect the first time we're doing it. So, but yeah, that's, we have to start somewhere. And yeah, I hope that in the future it'd be more engaging, and there will be more discussions in this meeting. But yeah, thanks, Josh, for helping hosting the meeting and also help with everything around it.
No problem. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.